Kalos is back, Megas are back, and most importantly, Game Freak is taking their time with a new Pokemon game. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and what a day it's been. Yesterday was Pokemon Day, and we were treated with a bombshell of an announcement with Pokémon Legends Z-A. In this video, we're going to be talking about mine and the internet's reactions to the news, and why this reveal changes everything for the Pokemon franchise moving forward. I'd love to hear what you guys thought of the announcement, so be sure to leave your own thoughts in the comment section below. I'm going to be trying a little bit of a different format today where I have just a couple of bullet points that I wanted to talk about with this announcement. So let me know what you guys think about this type of format in the comments below. Man, what a curveball this announcement was. Pokemon Legends Z-A. You know, I think everyone expected kind of a mix of perhaps 3 announcements today. First being Pokemon Let's Go Johto, whether it's Meryl or Togepi or Pichu, something like that. A Pokemon Black and White 3 or Pokemon Black and White Remake. And then finally a Legends Black and White. Those were pretty much the common consensus of what I heard around the internet of what people were expecting out of this Pokemon Day announcement. But man, what a welcome surprise to see a Legends Kalos game, which is what this looks like. I mean, all we really got was a nice cinematic and a logo, so it's hard to tell really what this game is gonna look like in the long term, but clearly we can see that we have the Legends name moniker and we're using Kalos in one way or another. It looks like from what we've been hearing from the reports online that it's gonna take place mostly in Lumio City, some kind of either past or future version of the city. If we're being honest, it feels like Pokemon has become a little bit predictable. I mean, if the announcement for Pokemon Day was one of the 3 announcements that I just mentioned, then I think some group of people would be disappointed. You can never really make all Pokemon fans happy, but either way, seeing something announced like Pokemon Legends Z-A was just such a welcome surprise that I didn't think anyone was really expecting. There's a couple reasons why I think this is a great decision from Game Freak. I started thinking, first of all, I think Pokemon Legends Z-A is a great chance at redeeming X and Y and the way that people view the Kalos region. If we think about it, it doesn't look like the Kalos region was really all that loved when it first released. You know, I think there was the kind of initial jolt or excitement about, oh my goodness, Pokemon is now in full 3D with models and on the 3DS, you know, and all that stuff. But as time has progressed, it really looks like people's view and opinion of the game has really kind of diminished over time. Most people just aren't happy with 3D Pokemon games, and most people think that Pokemon should have stayed in 2D, you know, all the way back with Black and White. But I think that this announcement really gives us an opportunity to see Pokemon X and Y in a new light and hopefully redeem the qualities about it that people weren't too happy about when it released for the first time. I think this also keeps Black and White safe for hopefully at least another couple years, or, you know, I didn't even think about that. Maybe they're just skipping a Black and White remake altogether. This pattern had been so ingrained in Pokemon over the last couple years that people assumed that there just has to be a Gen 5 remake this year, but there's not. And to be fair, it's pretty early. The announcement was only yesterday, but who's to say that Pokemon's actually gonna remake Black and White? Again, I've heard a lot of chatter online that suggests that Black and White is people's favorite Pokemon game, that Unova is people's favorite Pokemon region, and so this announcement keeps Black and White safe at least for another couple years, and if they are developing a Black and White remake, then it gives them hopefully just the proper amount of time to do it well and do it justice for the big fans of it. I think the fact that we're doing a Legends game is also a huge win, because when we think about what people really enjoyed over the past couple years with Pokemon games, people enjoyed Legends the most. Obviously, when we look at it in retrospect, there were a lot of issues with the game. It looked visually kind of more like a tech demo than anything else, but the general consensus was that Legends was a welcome change to the Pokemon formula that we had been playing for the past 20 years. Since we already have the first Legends game to go off of, I think that development for this one shouldn't take nearly as long since we already have the engine. Hopefully this gives the Pokemon company just ample amount of time to make this game really good. I mean, really engaging. The first Legends game was that, but it had some problems. Overall quality of the game, the way that the game ran, but I have high hopes for this new Legends game with what they already have in store. Also, the game's not releasing until 2025, and I think I have a pretty good idea of why that is. For being honest with the Pokemon Company, it seems like the yearly release is just something they live and die by. We've heard rumors recently that the Nintendo Switch 2, or successor to the Nintendo Switch, whatever we're gonna call it, was delayed to early 2025. Now again, this is just rumors, so we don't know anything for sure, but if this rumor is true, then it really sounds like Pokémon Legends Z-A was delayed to launch in line with the Switch 2. Because why else would Pokemon delay the game by a year unless there was some type of more powerful hardware that'd be able to run it better? All the puzzle pieces are aligning to suggest that Pokemon Legends Z-A is originally a Switch game that's now going to be released for the Switch successor in 2025. And who knows, it could be something like a dual release, like for the Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2, the same way that Breath of the Wild released both on Nintendo's previous console, the Wii U, and its current console, the Switch. Now, personally, the most exciting announcement for me, guys, Megas are back. Megas are back. What? Man, I thought for the longest time that people didn't really like Mega Evolution, especially when I looked at competitive battlers online during the X and Y era. It seems like people didn't really like Megas, but the more that I just see people's reaction to the announcement, the more I'm starting to recognize, wow, so it looks like either people really did like Megas originally, or they just hate all of the other new mechanics more than they hated Megas. I think Z moves and Gigantamax and all the other gimmicks that Pokemon has introduced in their games the past 2 years have been cool, but it seems like Megas just held a soft spot in people's hearts. I don't know what it is, but I'm really excited for Megas to be back. I think this game also has the potential to introduce a lot of mechanics that were supposed to be introduced in the long forgotten Pokemon Z. If you guys remember just Pokemon X and Y, and then the next game's Pokemon Sun and Moon, it really seemed like Pokemon Sun and Moon ended up using a lot of the kind of recycled aspects of what a Pokemon Z version was supposed to have. Now, I'm not going to pretend I know why the Pokemon Company didn't release a Pokemon Z, but for some reason they didn't. But now that we have Pokemon Legends Z-A, it sounds like we're going to have the opportunity to see a lot of that content that was either pushed to Sun and Moon or cut out of Pokemon X and Y directly, and get to see it in a new light through Pokemon Legends Z-A. So all that to say, I think this announcement is a lot bigger than people are giving it credit for. It seems like the general consensus is positive towards Pokemon Legends Z-A, but I think it's so much bigger than what we're putting on. This announcement means that Pokemon isn't as predictable as we thought they were. And I think that is the biggest takeaway that everyone can leave excited about from this announcement. For years, we've kind of seen just the same old run-of-the-mill play and pattern from the Pokemon Company and from Game Freak, but Pokemon Legends Z-A is a welcome surprise announcement that I don't think anybody saw coming. All that to say, Pokemon Legends Z-A gets me really excited for the future of Pokemon, and it seems like they've heard the fans' cries about what they desire in a Pokemon game. To try new things, to mix up the formula a little bit for the fans that have been sticking around since the beginning. But who knows, all this was just a teaser, so only time will tell how things will end up with Pokemon in their last adventure on the Nintendo Switch. Alright guys, God bless, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks, bye-bye.